There are moments in life when you are treated unfairly, and the hardest part is not always the injustice itself. Sometimes the hardest part is watching the person who hurt you continue as if nothing happened. You may know the truth. You may know what was said. You may know what was done. But somehow the world seems to believe a different story. And you find yourself asking, will anyone ever know the truth? Will anyone ever understand what really happened? Will justice ever come? If you have ever found yourself in that position, remember this. Time has a way of revealing what people try to hide. Not everything becomes clear immediately. Some truths take time. Some motives take time. Some people reveal themselves through their own actions. And sometimes the very person who tried to make you look guilty eventually exposes the truth without you having to say a word.
One of the deepest forms of pain is being misunderstood when you know you are being judged unfairly. You may try to explain yourself. You may try to defend your name. You may present your side of the story. But sometimes, the more you explain, the more complicated everything becomes. And eventually, you become tired. Tired of proving your intentions. Tired of correcting people's assumptions. Tired of defending yourself against a story you never created. So, you become quiet. Not because you are guilty. Not because you have nothing to say. But because you realize that sometimes, time can speak more convincingly than words ever could. There are things you cannot force people to understand. There are truths you cannot make someone accept. And there are people who will believe whatever version of the story makes them comfortable. But you don't have to spend the rest of your life trying to convince everyone. Live honestly. Walk with integrity. Let your character speak for you. Because when the noise becomes silent, character remains.
We live in a world where we want immediate results. We want people to recognize the truth immediately. We want apologies immediately. We want justice immediately. But life does not always work that way. Sometimes, truth takes a long journey before it reaches the surface. A seed does not become a tree overnight. A wound does not heal in a moment. And the truth does not always reveal itself on our preferred timetable. This is where patience becomes powerful. You may be looking at your situation today and thinking, nothing is changing. But you cannot always see what time is doing behind the scenes. People are watching. Circumstances are changing. Patterns are becoming visible. And actions are creating consequences. The person who constantly lies eventually has to maintain too many stories. The person who repeatedly mistreats others eventually reveals a pattern. The person who pretends to be innocent cannot control every situation forever. Eventually, consistency reveals character. And time has a remarkable way of separating what is genuine from what is merely an appearance. When someone treats you unfairly, the natural temptation may be to make them feel the same pain. You may think, I want them to know how much they hurt me. I want everyone to know what they did. I want them to regret it. But be careful. Do not allow someone else's wrongdoing to turn you into someone you are not. Your greatest response to injustice is not revenge. It is refusing to become unjust yourself. You can walk away without hatred. You can establish boundaries without cruelty. You can protect your peace without wishing destruction upon another person. And you can allow life to deal with what you cannot control. There is tremendous strength in saying, I know what happened. I know who I am. I will not destroy myself trying to prove my worth to people who have already chosen not to understand me. That is maturity. That is strength. That is peace. Have you ever looked back at a situation and realized that someone showed you who they really were? Perhaps you trusted someone completely. You defended them. You believed their words. Then, over time, their actions began to contradict everything they said. At first, you may have ignored the signs. You may have made excuses for them. You may have thought,
Maybe they didn't mean it. But eventually, the pattern became impossible to ignore. That is one of the things time does. Time gives people opportunities to reveal themselves. A person can pretend for a day. They can pretend for a week. They can even pretend for a season. But maintaining a false character forever is difficult. Eventually, actions begin to speak. And when they do, you may finally understand why certain doors had to close, why certain relationships had to change, why certain people had to leave your life. Sometimes what you thought was a loss was actually protection.
There is another important lesson here. Do not allow something unfair that happened to you to become the definition of your entire life. Yes, it happened. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it may have changed the way you see certain people. But it does not have to determine who you become. You still have a future. You still have dreams. You still have opportunities. You still have a life to live. Do not spend tomorrow standing emotionally in yesterday's injustice. Learn from it. Grow through it. Set wiser boundaries. Become more discerning. But keep moving. Because sometimes the best evidence that injustice did not defeat you is the life you build afterward. Let your future become bigger than your past. Let your peace become stronger than the pain. Let your character become louder than the accusations. One of the most beautiful things about truth is that it does not always need to fight for attention. A lie may be loud. A false accusation may spread quickly. A rumor may travel faster than reality. But truth does not need to become a performance. Truth can remain still. Truth can wait. Truth can survive questions. Truth can survive time. And eventually, when the facts become clear, people begin to see what was there all along. So, if you are currently being misunderstood, if someone has judged you unfairly, if your intentions have been misrepresented, if you have been blamed for something you did not do, take a breath. You do not have to panic. You do not have to destroy your peace. You do not have to chase every accusation. Respond when necessary. Correct what must be corrected. Protect yourself when necessary. But after that, let time do its work. There is something powerful about being able to look back at a difficult situation and say, I did not become cruel because they were cruel to me. I did not become dishonest because they lied about me. I did not destroy someone because they tried to destroy my reputation. I remained true to myself. That is victory. Because sometimes justice is not simply about what happens to the person who wronged you. Sometimes justice is also about what happens inside you. You become wiser, stronger, more careful, more compassionate, more aware of the kind of person you want to be. The experience may have hurt you, but it didn't have to corrupt you. And that is something worth protecting. Perhaps today you are still waiting for the truth to come out, waiting for someone to understand, waiting for circumstances to change, waiting for people to see what you saw. And maybe you cannot see the outcome yet, but don't let uncertainty steal your peace. Sometimes the answer is not immediate. Sometimes the lesson is unfolding slowly. Sometimes the truth becomes visible only after enough time has passed. And one day you may look back and say, now I understand. You may understand why you had to remain silent, why you had to walk away, why you had to stop explaining yourself, why you had to let certain people go, why you had to trust your own character instead of everyone's opinion. Remember this. People may misunderstand your words. They may question your intentions. They may believe stories about you. But your consistent character will eventually tell its own story. Keep doing what is right. Keep treating people with dignity. Keep your promises. Keep your heart clean. Keep growing. Keep moving forward. Because your life is bigger than one accusation. Your future is bigger than one painful experience. And your identity is bigger than somebody else's opinion of you. You don't need everyone to understand you. You need to remain faithful to what you know is right.
So, if someone has treated you unfairly, if someone has lied about you, if someone has judged you without knowing the whole story, do not allow their actions to steal the rest of your life. You may not be able to control what they say. You may not be able to control what people believe today. You may not be able to control how quickly the truth becomes known. But you can control how you respond. Choose dignity. Choose patience. Choose wisdom. Choose peace. And most importantly, choose to keep becoming the person you are meant to become. Because time has a way of uncovering what people try to conceal. It reveals patterns. It reveals motives. It reveals character. It reveals truth.
And sometimes the person who tried so hard to convince everyone else that you were the problem eventually becomes the evidence that proved you were not. So don't spend your life chasing revenge. Don't spend every day trying to prove yourself. Don't allow injustice to consume your heart. Live honestly. Walk wisely. Keep your character strong. And let time tell the story. Because truth may be delayed, but it does not become less true because it takes time to be seen. And when the truth finally comes to light, you will not need to shout, "I told you so." Your life will speak for itself. Time reveals the truth behind every injustice. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply remain true while time does the revealing.
So, if you are in a season where you feel misunderstood, wrongly judged, or unfairly treated, remember this. You do not have to fight every accusation. You do not have to explain yourself to everyone. And you do not have to lose your peace trying to prove the truth. Keep your heart right. Keep your character strong. Keep walking in integrity. Because what people cannot see today, time may reveal tomorrow. Let time expose what words could not. Let your consistency speak where accusations have spoken against you. And let your life become the evidence of who you truly are. Never allow someone else's injustice to turn you into an unjust person. Choose peace, choose wisdom, choose patience, and keep moving forward. Because sometimes the greatest victory is not watching someone who hurt you face consequences. Sometimes the greatest victory is realizing that they never succeeded in changing who you are. If this reflection spoke to you, take a moment to think about it. And if you know someone who is struggling because they have been misunderstood or treated unfairly, share this message with them. Here at Reflection Time with ESE, we believe that sometimes a simple reflection can change the way you see life. Until our next reflection, stay calm, stay true, keep growing, and remember, time reveals the truth behind every injustice.